Predator angling is one of the most popular forms of fishing across the whole of the globe. In Europe in particular, it is massive. The competition scene as well, that's amazingly healthy, and there's an event that attracts some of the top anglers from the four corners of the earth. It's this one, the World Predator Classic. Predator anglers travel from all four corners of the globe to take part and pay pilgrimage to one of the biggest events in the Predator calendar. Anglers from kayak, street and boat disciplines invade this normally quiet and historic port town, and the streets are alive with angling spirit. A captain's dinner is held where the teams get to meet and share stories before a magnificent parade takes place through the streets and waters of Hellevoetsluis. It culminates in an opening ceremony of the event with the firing of the magnificent cannons that guard the entrance to this historic port, which is steeped in naval history.
It's an amazing event. What a place to be. What a massive water, amazing place to fish.
It's fast. It's, I guess, fast and furious, as he says, and I love fishing for these type of species. They're difficult to catch. They really are, and it's challenging, and that's why I like it.
We are excited to be here again, and it stays a fantastic event.
I like the event, that's why I'm here. I'm not so competitive still in fishing, but I like to come to the event. I love to be here, the atmosphere, and meet all the people. It's nice to be here.
It's an awesome event here, and really the best fishermen all over the world, and to fish against them, and to win this competition would be an awesome feeling for me.
If you see all the great fishermen that are here, and the qualifiers from England, from Finland, the level is going up and up and up in the last years. So for us, will be tough to to end up on top of them, but we'll do our best. We're feeling good, and hopefully we get it right this time.
There are 3 different classes in this event: boat, kayak and street, and all of them are hotly contested. In the kayak event, anglers take to the water in their specially designed craft, which are light, manoeuvrable and extremely good fun. On foot are the street anglers, and the event attracts competitors from far and wide. From Germany to Japan, street fishers arrive in their hundreds, and the canals around Hellevoetsluis offer them the perfect playground for one of the fastest growing disciplines of angling. The main eyes, though, are on the waters of the Harring Fleet for the boat event, where some serious horsepower, glamour and impressive machinery are on display. In the boat event, 86 anglers from 17 different nations will take part in this year's event, coming from as far afield as America to Austria, Sweden to Switzerland. The world's finest are here, and they've all got a point to prove.
This is a big one.
It's going to be tough, but it's going to be good.
I would love to win this event.
Belgian anglers Luc Coppens and Jeremy Staveman did the double in 2014 and 2015. Local anglers, they know the venue well and are feared amongst all the other teams. Last year it was the Finnish pairing of Antti Attila and Markku Tuisinen that took the honours in wet and windy conditions. This year Tuisinen has a new partner, Kimmo Mantari, and they will be a force to be reckoned with. Other pairings include Daniela Schaefer, who teams up with local angler Pierre Jonen. And there's plenty of other very, very capable and high-profile anglers, all after that pole position. Well, I've got the founder of the World Predator Classic with me at the moment, Ross. Wonderful, wonderful day. So, tell me, how does the event work?
Well, it's an event that's actually run over 3 days. There's 3 zander, 3 perch and 1 pike that the anglers need to catch per day. If they catch more than that, it's the biggest of those different species that they catch. And that then actually gives a position that they actually compete against the other anglers overall. If you come first, you get 1 point for that day. Second, down to last position. And then, of course, that starts again the next day, so it's all over again. And
so you can have a really good day one day, a terrible day the next day, and they basically balance each other out, don't they?
You got it, yeah.
So Let's have a look at the technology that's required to try and get all of these results. And you've got a lot of guys to cover out there. How do you get all the information in?
Well, what we've actually got, we've got a special app that we've designed. We've got GPS trackers on the boats, and that's something we've kind of developed over the past few years. But it's photograph, catch and release. That's actually what we're doing. We get the information straight back to HQ. We can see, verify the fish, and send the information straight back to the competitors so that they know it's good to go.
So everybody knows exactly where they are. They know where everyone else is. No, they don't know. You know where everyone else is.
We know where they
don't know
are.
where everyone else is. It's a big piece of water out there, believe me. When the boats leave the harbour, and they do it very, very quickly, they can go anywhere, can't they?
They can. It's a massive piece of water, and there's some huge fish in this particular lake.
So I'm going to put you on the spot now. Yep. Who do you fancy?
One of the teams that are competing.
Well, there we go. That was very, very diplomatic. There's quite a few here that have been up there before in this competition. However, conditions looking a bit hot. It's going to be tricky, isn't it?
Very different from last year. Last year we had storms, but seriously big storms. This year it's we've got heat time, and they're more likely to get heat stroke out there than they are anything else. But incredible weather conditions, but going to be tough fishing, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to close off with coining a phrase, really. Everyone's in the same boat. Being an international event, the people of Hellevoetsluis turn out to join in the celebrations. The boats and kayaks travel through the waters of the harbour into the Harring Fleet, and a parade marches through the streets. It has become traditional for fans to stand on the town bridge as the boats below rev up their engines and soak the onlookers. It's a carnival atmosphere with fancy dress, music and dancing a big part of the day. The machinery is impressive, and it's a great opportunity for some friendly fun and games and a celebration before the seriousness of competition begins in the morning. It all ends with the firing of the impressive and historic cannons that, in years gone by, guarded the entrance to the fortified harbour that once was home to the Dutch National Fleet. The World Predator Classic 2017 is now open. I've got Christian Biereth from Germany with me at the moment. He's an expert on everything to do with this place. You've fished this event before. Brilliant event, but let's talk about the Harring Fleet. What a great piece of water it is.
It is. It is one of the best fisheries in Europe for zander, pike and perch. And it's a big water, so we don't see any issues with boats being on one specific spot, being in the way of each other, and that's quite cool.
It's a very interesting ecosystem as well, isn't it? Because it's actually the delta where the River Rhone runs into the North Sea. So one end of it has more salt water than the other. The area at the eastern end near the bridge, that's quite open, quite clean, and the area near the western end by the dam, that's got a lot more salt. How do you think that affects the fishing?
Yeah, it has to do with the tide, and not just the tide, because the delta isn't open, there's a dam. So it's not as much tide as in the sea, in the North Sea, but there's tide, I don't know, maybe 50 centimeters. And of course, salt water is heavier than fresh water, and depending on how much wind you have, it will mix more or less. So I think it's a key that you decide where you go on what time of the day.
So let's look at the variations in types of fishing here. Some areas are very shallow, some are very deep. There are islands, there are bays, there's big, deep boat channels as well, rocks.
Yeah.
Which is your preference?
Oh, that's depending a lot on the fish. As you said, there's an island we call Bird Island. It's pretty much under the surface, and another big island. There's areas with rocks, and especially in the shallows. So there's also a lot of wheat growing this year, a lot of plants, and usually also there the water is a little bit cleaner.
The amount of time it takes to move around here, I think that takes up a lot of your fishing time. It's what, even in the fastest boats, it's 30 minutes from one end to the other.
Yeah, it's 25 kilometers, so if you go 100 with the boat, you can do it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this is also the reason why many boats have such a big engine, to be able to go where you want to go in a quick way and have a lot of fishing time.
Welcome back to the World Predator Classic 2017, and it's event day. The guys are lining up in the boats and both the kayaks, and it's time to rock and roll. It's a hive of activity as everything is put together and prepared, because once the guys are out on the water, they certainly will not want to come back in again. All systems go. Let's see what's happening with the kayak anglers. The kayak event has attracted anglers from across Europe and as far away as Morocco. The event follows exactly the same rules and duration as the main boat event and is fished over 3 days. Well, as the sun rises over the Harring Fleet for the start of day one of the kayak event, the guys are lining up on the start line, and it's going to be a sprint start as tournament organiser Ross Honey calls for proceedings to begin.
Get ready.
And they're off, and it's a bit of a sprint start there as a lot of the guys head in the same direction towards the eastern end of the Harring Fleet. They come around the corner of the stone wall there that marks the beach at the entrance to the port. They'll nip around the lighthouse, and there's a spot just round the corner into the breeze where there are normally 1 or 2 zander. Interesting seeing the pack split there as well. We have half a dozen turning right, going to the western end with the wind, but the big money at the moment seems to be east. We'll catch up with the kayak guys and find out how they've done a little later on. Back at the harbour, the powerboat anglers were all ready to start, but before they left port, we caught up with the defending champion to find out how his year had been.
Yeah, it has been good. We have in Finland, we have good visibility for World Predator Classic, so it's quite nice.
And you have a new partner this year as well. Antti couldn't make it. So, Kimmo, tell me, into the hot seat.
Yeah. You know, there are some pressures, but you know, we are doing our best.
The event is brilliant. You know, like every year I want to come here and compete, and yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
What's going to be your target first? Straight on the zander or pike?
Yeah, definitely. First on the zander, you know, because the conditions, and then try to find the pike, because perch are like very hard to find. So, you know, if we have time, we will try for perch as well. But zander and pike, our target today.
Ollie, how are we this morning?
Not too bad. Just the final preps, getting everything ready. Yeah, quite excited now. It's going to be a good comp, I think.
Bit of a breeze today as well, making things a bit better.
Yeah, I think it's going to improve the situation a little bit this morning. It's going to get really hot. Forecast of about 32 degrees today. That's been the warmest we've had so far, even in practice. So it's going to be interesting this afternoon, I think.
Right, everybody's in line, we're getting ready to go, we're getting ready to hit the horn. We're about to start the World Predator Classic 2017 now. Let's go!
And there we go, they are off, and it's like the start of a Formula One race as the boats speed off in all sorts of different directions across the Harring Fleet. We're going to try and keep with some of these boats just to give you an impression of the sort of speed that they can do. Oh yes, and clearly there is a pack of fish around here. This is absolutely fantastic. The guys are on their own in this area. Nobody is anywhere near them, and they've found fish. Looks like another zander.
Yes, another not too big one as far as I can see, but it's a fish. And this also, if you're a tournament fisherman, this gives you a lot of motivation, even though the fish is small.
Oh, maybe that it's too small, he might be releasing it. Yeah, he's released it without landing it, so it's too small, it's undersized.
Yeah,
but that's not a serious problem, because it means there are fish in the area now.
Yeah, you see how quickly everything goes. They already saw when they reeled it in that it's too small. They released it really quickly and then back on the next cast, and this is tournament fishing.
As soon as he saw that his teammate had got a slightly undersized fish, he's straight onto his rod, casting it back out again, because where there's one, there are normally more. So the defending champion Markku Tuisinen and his new partner Kimmo Mantari appear to have found themselves somewhat of fish. They've caught one perch already and they're on very light tactics here, sitting in about 8 meters of water, and they're targeting perch.
Yes, and it seems they are using a drop shot rig, and this normally stands, if you see this, for really tough conditions. Because if the fish is biting really aggressively, you wouldn't need to use a drop shot rig. It's a really slow tactic they use, and they are not fishing it really fast and about 6-7 meters deep, I think.
So we're approaching Darius Ostendorp and Bjorn Gesterman, and we see that they've just got their measure out. We're a fair way away from them at the moment, but hopefully we'll be able to catch them up and see what they have caught. They're fishing in the shallower water. They're going through the process there of measurement, and what happens is as soon as a team catches a fish, what they have to do is put it onto the measuring board, take a photograph of it, and then once that has been photographed, it will be sent into the main control area and recorded on the score sheets straight away. So we're now at the easterly end of the Harring Fleet, not too far away from the bridge that connects to Hollands Deep, and in front of us is boat number 37. This is the German pairing of Daniel Russell and Gregor Babiotz, and they're in the lead at the moment, Christian. They've got a full house of zander and a couple of perch.
Yep, they got, at the moment they have three zanders. 2 of them are over 70 centimeters and one is 78, which is quite a good size. And they have one really big perch with 49 centimeters. And we just found them here on the east side of the big island Tingemeten, and they are fishing shallow at the moment, and they have a drift anchor to slow the drifting speed down. And we can see one of them fishing with a big lure, which can only or mainly catch a pike.
Absolutely. Well, they don't need another zander now. They've got 3 already. Obviously, if they can get 3 really big ones, that helps if it ever comes back to account back on size. But it's a pike that will really make a big difference to them. Here we see one of the Lawrence boats of Ulf Sturmer and Robin Gromper. They've just landed what appears to be a small zander. We see the measuring board there just being put into operation. They've got to see if that fish is big enough. It looks like it might just be. It wasn't a massive fish, but they'll be checking it. Fishing in the shallows. And they're part of the Lawrence team. There's 2 Lawrence boats out here today.
Oh, they put it back.
Ah yes, the fish has gone back. It's not big enough. But there's 2 Lawrence boats in here today, and they're both in the same place. Now bear in mind how much water there is. I spoke to Ollie Taylor earlier, and he said that the boats were going to pair up through the course of the day and basically leapfrog each other down the bank to see if they could work as much water as possible and work in tandem as a team. We know that Ollie has already caught a couple of fish, fishing with Christian Wienicke from Germany. They're on the leaderboard, and there's still a fair amount of time yet, so if there's one small zander around, there's a good chance there may be others. So we're looking over at Pierre Jonen and Daniela Schaefer. They have caught quite a few fish and they're looking pretty good. They had a good start to last year's event actually. They quite like this spot. We're not going to give it away because we respect where the competitors are and their secret little places, but they're spending some time here looking for something very specific. And this is a sport that's practiced in England quite a bit, actually on a lake called Grafham Rutland, where they're searching for the zander. Pelagic fishing, for those that don't know that are watching this, means when you're fishing in the mid-table, the mid-column of the water, the fish aren't on the bottom and the fish aren't up towards the surface. They are somewhere in the middle, and they've seen something there. What they do is they look for individual shapes, and these fish finders that they have now are amazingly accurate, very good attention to detail. They will say how far down the fish is, and as soon as they find one, like Christian says, they will turn off the main petrol engine, put on the trolling motor, drop their rigs down to the depth that the fish have been seen on the sounder, and they will try and catch an individual fish. Second place, Christophe Hubarts and Philippe Neuville, and they are fishing very shallow, quite close into these rocks here. I suspect perch may well be the target. They've got a drogue out just on a slow drift down maybe 10 meters off that rocky bank. Perch?
For sure, yes. You can be lucky and catch 1 zander or so, and sometimes also pike, but the I'm sure they are targeting perch at the moment. The one guy you see in the back is fishing over the distance of the boat, just in where the transom is. So there will be a drop off, and he's fishing deeper right under the boat, while the other one is casting into the front, really close to the stones. And this is where sometimes the perch is waiting for some, crabs and stuff to come out of the stones. So this is where they like to be.
Plenty of fish for many of the teams, but no one managed to fill their quota with all species. It was boat 32, Daniela Schaefer and Pierre Jonen who came closest with a meterage of 331, made up of pike, zander and perch. That result put them into first place, with the French team of Christophe Huets and Philippe Nouvel in second on 323 centimetres, and the German pairing of Ressel and Baborias just 20 centimetres behind in third. The kayak event was pretty tough going, but Morocco's Salah El Barbouchi managed to catch a perch and 2 zander to take the top position. We're on board with him now, and you can see just how technical it is fishing from a kayak. This was the overall leaderboard after day one, and the man from Morocco was at the top of the pile, ahead of Daniel van der Post from Holland and England's Lee Garner in third.
Name's Larissa Switlick from Florida, USA, Team America all the way, and professional hunter and fisherman. But Livingston Lures has been my sponsor from the very start. They sponsored me the first World Predator Classic. We got top 5, and Livingston Lures is actually the hard bait sponsor for the World Predator Classic this year. Livingston Lures is one of the top lure manufacturers in the US, and also paving the way throughout Europe as well. They just came out with a brand new Predator line, which is perfect for this tournament. And what's special about them is they have an electronic bait fish sound, which is embedded in a smart chip inside the lure. So what happens is when the lure actually touches the water, it emits a sound of an injured bait fish. So besides having, your typical hard bait lure, and it might have a rattle in it and everything, and the colors and the depth it dives, these actually have a sound that is emitted every time it touches the water. And when it cuts out of the water, the sound turns off. Another cool thing is they just came out with a smartphone app, so you can actually track all the lures that you have, put them in your tackle box, and then track all your catches and enter all your data. And also there's Bluetooth on the lure, so you can actually change the sound of what it's emitting just from your phone to the lure. If you want to find out more about Livingston Lures, then check out the website at livingstonlures.com.
I'm Ollie Taylor. I'm a Lowrance ambassador and a Team Lowrance member. I work with Lowrance because I believe that their products are some of the best on the market. The functionality of them is so good, and that you can adapt them in many ways to suit your angling.
We have all those pro staffers on board actually to help us develop the right people for our target group, because they actually work with our equipment on an almost daily basis, and they can tell exactly what is needed to be the winner in the game for finding the right fish.
One of the most important things is they're user friendly. The ease of use of the units is massive. One of the great things is they're dead easy to use. There are eyes under the water. It makes us catch more fish. The carbons or the XDS series, you've got the 3D structure scan that's giving you a 3D image, side scan, down scan and sonar. And you can use the chirp sonar as well. It gives you a greater view or a greater return on your targets. The screen quality is amazing. The Solar Max, you can see it with polarized glasses on. Also, you can do, they've got a thing called Aqua Touch. You can actually touch the screen. The touch screen still works with wet fingers or water on the screen. If you've got a fish and you put the fish back and your hands are wet, for example, you can touch the screen straight away and change what you've got on the screen. And when you're fishing, the polarization of your glasses, you can look into the water, look through the water with your polarized glasses on, see the weed spots, instantly target those weed spots and quickly look at the screen without having to take your glasses off. Basically, they make life easier and catch more fish.
Lawrence is over 60 years, so that means that we have over 60 years of experience in what is important for finding fish. So we have the most efficient fish finding capabilities. We have all the features on board on the technology side, and we have above all the best to see through screens. So that's what makes a difference for finding the right spots and the right fishes. If you want to know more about Lawrence, you can go to our website, of course, but you can also go to your local fishing store and they will help you out to demo our products.
So guys, brilliant day yesterday for you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So tell me, which were the hardest fish to catch?
The hardest fish is still the perch, like the training days. Yeah, because I thought we would get a little bit more wind, but in the moment it doesn't look like, so it will be difficult. We need a little bit more movement in the water, that the fish are more active during the day.
Okay, so Pierre,
Yeah.
great start, as we say. First place, do you think, with your knowledge of the water, you can hold on to another good day today?
When we find the perch, I think it's a good day, and when not, with a little bit luck, you catch a pike, and then it's okay. Squeeze under one pike, think top 5, and
We tried different places. One was okay. We won the first place directly, was 3 zander. It was very quick, and after that we have to fight to find the other fish. But hopefully our plan worked well. So it was quite good. We were happy.
So day 2 is upon us and we have quite a big change in conditions. There's a very, very strong westerly wind blowing at the moment down towards the bridge at the far end of the Harring Fleet, and behind me the competitors are lining up. The start will take place any minute now, and there's going to be a serious amount of horsepower unleashed as all of these boats fly off that way. They're all directed to go in the same direction first before they can turn around and head in the direction they want to fish. Get ready, start is nearly upon us. So we're at the very westerly end of the Harring Fleet at the moment, just not too far away from the dam, a small beach, and we can see an English pairing there. Do you know much about this end, Christian?
As they come here the first, it usually means that they caught them good here yesterday.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
we
so
know that the English team didn't have too good a day yesterday. I think they had one chance and they missed it.
And they are fishing vertically at the moment.
Yep.
They're using the back trolling engine to keep the boat in place, positioned, and they are fishing vertically. Oh, it's Helmut and Michael, Helmut Schodell, with a nice zander. Not too bad, at least. It's around, what would you say? Close to 60 centimeters?
I would think so, yeah. It looks a decent fish.
Yeah.
So, great picture there as we see the boat. Very happy with that. The zander have been the target. And while zander were the target for some, others were not having such a good day. We caught up with the defending champions, Marco Tuisinen and Kimmo Mantari, back in the port.
yes, we have to come back to the harbor. We just lost our Minkota front engine, so we we heard some loud pops and then we lost our engine. So anchoring is not enough in this competition, so there's no sense to continuing without the front engine. But lucky enough, we have a spare engine with us, and now we are assembling it.
So the whole engine just fell off the front of the boat.
Yes,
And that's now sunk and it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
For good.
So we just ran into my friends from Germany, Dustin Schöne and Johannes Dietl, who are currently in the lead of the second day of the World Predator Classic this year. They had a decent day yesterday. They finished 7th, I think. And they are currently leading according to the live leaderboard at the moment. They have caught 3 zanders, 1 little pike and 1 perch. And at the moment it seems like they are going for another perch.
Well, 2 more perch and they'll get a full scorecard, which is exactly what they'll be looking for, and nobody managed to do that yesterday. The closest was 1 fish short, just that 1 perch, and perch seem to be the more difficult fish to catch at the moment. But 2 more, and they've still got a good few hours left to go yet, but 2 more and they will top that card. And if they do that, you know what, they're certainly going to be up there, if not first, in the top 3. So we're now at the easterly end of the Harring Fleet, not too far away from the bridge that connects to Hollands Deep, and in front of us is boat number 37. This is the German pairing of Daniel Russell and Gregor Babiotz, and they're in the lead at the moment, Christian. They've got a full house of zander. This end of the Harring Fleet, this is the bit that's furthest away from the seaward end, so this is where there's going to be more fresh water than salt water. Do you think that has a bearing?
I don't know. It also depends on the tide, and the tide was pushing in until I think noon, until now I think, so it should be on the highest point right now, or in 30 minutes, something like this. So now there shouldn't be too much current, and this makes it usually tough a little bit until the current starts flowing again. Salt, yes, might be a factor as well, because not so much salt water will come up to this point. So it seems it pays out for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The salt water will be a lot less at this end, and if these fish are just a little bit unsettled because of the weather, because of the air pressure, because of the heat, they may prefer to be in the clearer fresh water than in that brackish water down towards the other end. We've got a bit of a situation developing here at the moment. We've got about 2 hours left of the competition on day 2, but this is a weather map, and the yellow dots are lightning strikes, the red ones are fresh ones. You can just see some more appearing on there. Now, this is the waters of the Harring Fleet, and the storm has been moving slowly towards us, although it has started to track south. The wind's blowing from a westerly direction, and safety is absolutely paramount. We've seen that it's getting choppy out there, the wind's picking up, but the last thing we want is boats out on the water when there's lightning striking. So it may be the competition might be closed a little bit earlier today, primarily because of this storm. Just coming up to the end of day 2 here at the World Predator Classic. Look at the sky. It's changed completely. The wind has picked up. The sun, that's disappeared, although my face is still as red as your shirt. And we've had a bit of a storm rumbling round, but the boats are just about coming in now. You'll notice behind us there's a few here that are sheltering from the wind, and that's been a bit of a story all over today, isn't it?
It has. I mean, the wind itself has really got up, particularly this afternoon. We could see thunder and lightning coming in, and in the last kind of hour before the event was due to finish, we sent out an advisory to all of the competitors to let them know, look, wind coming through. It didn't look like it then, but the weather forecast has certainly got this one right, and even to the extent with the thunder and lightning as well.
Absolutely, it's amazing how accurate everybody can be, and what that's done today is just added to how technical it's been. You know, you can't come to a piece of water like this and think it's just a case of going out there and going fishing, can you? There's been breakdowns, there's been stuff falling off boats, which is a bit of a disaster, there's been engine failures, there's been all sorts going on. It's been a day of drama. The results are just coming in now. The electronic system has got the provisional results, but people are bringing their catch reports in. We don't know who's in the lead yet, but we do know that there's been a few changes at the top of the leaderboard.
There have, and I think it's actually been quite interesting. There's a few of the teams that have actually caught nothing at all today, which, I mean, with the weather conditions having changed, the expectations were just that they didn't look terribly good yesterday, but for today, we were expecting more fish to catch, and it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, incredible. They would normally get used to it, but the weather conditions, this doesn't really suit predators. Carp, yes. Pike, perch and zander, absolutely not. Time to check the results. We'll be back very, very soon to let you know who's at the top of the table. Germany's Daniel Russell and Gregor Babiotz in boat 37 took the honours for day 2, with 3 zander and a pike, but no perch. Germany again now. This time it's Dustin Schoner and Johannes Dietl, 3 zander, a pike and a perch, but their fish were smaller in length, pushing them into second. And third place went to Finland's Ari Pataja and Pekka Latinen with perch and zander, but no pike. So, what does this do to the overall scores? Well, Germany take up 3 of the top places, Poland, France and Belgium taking 1 other each. The top 4 teams go into the final day in single figures, with the consistent Daniel Ressel and Gregor Baborias leading the way on a magnificent score of 4. So the street fishing event is one of the biggest events of its type in the world. Now, what exactly is street fishing? Well, you know what? Just have a look at the words. It's fishing in the street. Anglers like these guys behind me throng into towns and cities across the whole of Europe and literally just fish from pavements, bridges, wherever they can find access to be able to get to those fish directly below them. Predators, of course, are the target again. We're looking for perch, zander and pike. They need 1 pike, they need 3 perch and 3 zander to fill their card. But what we've seen over the last few years is pike generally tend to win it. So the clever money means that guys will be pike fishing. Now, this sort of fishing is immensely popular all across Europe. Lots and lots of people do it. You can see the colours, the vibrancy, and the scene is absolutely brilliant. It's about catching fish, of course it is. That's why these guys, and of course everybody watching this film that fishes, that's why we go. But it's more than that. This is a cult scene. These guys, from whatever country they're from, all get on with each other really, really well. And every year they pay the pilgrimage back here to Hellevoetsluis to meet, to greet, to have a drink, and quite simply have a really good time. You won this event in 2015.
Yes.
Yes.
Won, yeah.
Are you going to win it this year?
I try to. Yeah, that's why I came for. But yeah, the most important thing for us is have as much fun as possible, and the second important thing is winning. Yeah.
That seems to be one of the big things about street fishing. It's about catching fish, but it's about meeting friends and really enjoying yourself.
For sure. Yeah, it's very important to meet a lot of nice people, walk around with them, have some nice conversation all the time, and yeah, it's really a nice community.
We've been lucky this year, I think, to be in a couple with last year's champions. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we're gonna be good for our country.
There's going to be a lot of pressure on the water today. I think we're used to fishing canals and waterways where there's, maybe 1 or 2 anglers. There's going to be a lot of anglers on the banks here, but there's a lot of good fish swimming around.
The atmosphere is brilliant, and I really feel the connection with all the anglers. Even if we don't know each other, and we still talk like our own friends. So that's a great thing, I think. Yeah.
My name is Christian Bieret, and I'm the owner of Best Boat Germany, and we import boats and also service boats and engines and trailers in our workshop. We mainly work with Mercury engines. Mercury engines are the strongest, the lightest and the most powerful, and our boats are equipped for Mercury engines and also developed with Mercury engines. So our Mercury trained mechanics can service all the Mercury engines, and there's a 5 years warranty on the engines, and so you need to bring them in every year for the service, and we can do all this in our facility. All the boats we offer from Nitro, Tracker and some other brands are pre-rigged for Mercury engines, and their team in America is testing a lot with Mercury engines, so we know exactly the performance that is best for the particular boat with a Mercury engine. You can find us on the internet on bestboat.de or just give us a call.
My name is Babs Kiewski and I'm a professional angler from Germany. I'm here to, push the thumbs for my team, for my Zepco Europe team. The Quantum team is a big team, so some people are fish only for perch, another people fish for zander, another fished for pike. We are a big family and everybody loves the Quantum products, and we visit all the people to fish with Quantum.
The lure is good for pike fishing and zander fishing. Sometimes the pike love the flanking, and this bait is very good in the water. You see that all the time, bam, 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 and the tail works very good. Yeah? And the curly YOLO It's better for slowly fishing and a little bit flanking, and the tail it's very good for slowly fishing in the shallow water. Very nice.
Now here you can see our swim baits. I love these swim baits. We have different colors, very aggressive colors and natural colors. They have a weight about 80-85 grams. They are slow sinking and you can fish there in shallow water. Or if you wait, then it's sinking and you can fish in different water depths. If you want to see more products of our quantum equipment, you can look at our homepage and you can see there a lot of interesting lures, rods, reels, all of them.
The street event sees hundreds of anglers from around Europe converge on the streets of Hellevoetsluis. Their aim, to catch as many perch, pike and zander as they can. Anglers fish in couples and are paired up with another couple to keep score. England's top lure angler Andy Mitten is fishing with Polish angler Paweł Karkowski, and they were into a decent pike pretty quickly. Andy, good start for you and your teammate Paweł.
Yes, excellent, mate. Excellent. We're really pleased.
Tell me what's happened so far.
So we gave the team we're fishing with first choice, and we fished on one of the bigger canals. Now it wasn't working there. There's too much sunlight. Wind wasn't working in our favour, so we moved into one of the shallower backwaters. What we've been doing between us, Paweł's been working big jerk baits. I've been working an old-fashioned spoon, just so we've had a bit of contrast to approach, just so we're covering every method. And yeah, the change of location paid off. Paweł's just had a 80cm pike, which we're chuffed a bit with.
Will you stay with this tactic all the way through, or will you swap over now?
No, we're going to continue with what we're doing. We just think we're going to give ourselves the best chance of winning if we're covering two aspects rather than both focusing on one particular method.
When I was choosing the tackle for today, my tactic was really go big. My friend Nathan Enger said go big or go home, and it's something that I really adapt for myself, for my fishing tackle, and for my style of fishing, and it's I suppose it seems like it's working really.
Hellevoetsluis has hosted the street event for 4 years now, and you can see why. Canals, a moat, the harbour and the lake all offer some brilliant fishing, but the hot weather conditions over the last few days would mean the sport would be challenging. So now we're on the moat and it looks like there's a fairly big fish on here, but we're not convinced that it's actually a pike. It certainly isn't a perch or a zander. It looks more like a carp, and if it is a carp it may well be foul hooked. So let's have a little look. He's going to take his time with this. A little bit of drama down here. It's fighting very, very much like a carp. Question is, how big is it? That's the thing with carp fishing as well. You pull back in 2 foot of line and it takes off 20 metres of line. If he's fishing for pike, then he should have the tackle to be able to land it. There it is. And it's a common carp. It's about 5 kilos. This is probably going to be one of the biggest fish caught in this competition, but sadly it will not count. He needs perch, he needs pike, or he needs zander. As with all the fish caught in the World Predator Classic, they all go back in again. It's a no-kill policy, and that carp swims off to fight again another day. The anglers fished around the harbour, moat, canal and lake for the rest of the day, but the falling light conditions meant it would soon be bite time. As the light started to fade, everybody knows that this is predator time, and the guys start gathering round one of the main lock basins where the Harring Fleet enters into one of the big canals that heads towards the centre of Holland. And the zander tend to come in on the one side of the lock gate with good perch on the other side too. And there's been a few zander caught through the course of the evening. But as it gets darker, this is when the big fish come into play, and that's when the big difference is made. Back at the kayak event, and Morocco's Salah Al Barbouchi was dominating again, although there were dramas. The stormy weather tipped him over at one stage, but he still managed to record 3 zander to win yet again on day 2. The final day was another one that suited him, and a perfect score meant that he dominated the event from start to finish to take the title of Kayak Champion 2017. And there it is, the final scores after 2 days of street fishing, and the victory goes to Fabian Graef of Germany, 135 points and 2 pike. Second up, it was actually a tie-break. Sander Bravenboer, the local man from the Netherlands, also on 135, but Graef caught them quicker. Third up, Dennis Horvath, another Dutchman, 127, 1 zander, 1 pike. But it was Graef who was crowned World Predator Classic Street Fishing Champion 2017. The big prize at the World Predator Classic is, of course, the boat event, and 4 teams were in contention. Daniel Ressel and Gregor Baboriels held a slim lead at the top on 6 points. They were being chased by Day 1 winners Daniel Schaefer and Pierre Jonan, and Frenchmen Christophe Huberts and Philippe Nouvel on 7 points, plus Dennis Schoner and Johannes Dietl on 9.
We are very happy in the moment. Yesterday was not so good. We got 7 points on our account, but I think everything is open.
The wind is a problem?
Pour moi, le vent il fait vraiment beaucoup de vent aujourd'hui. C'est un petit problème.
I think the wind may be a problem today. Not really for the travelling, but for the fishing it will be difficult.
Danny Schiffer and Pierre.
They're good anglers. They know the waters.
Yeah, we are first time on this water. These guys are all week.
Out on the water now, and after that fast and crazy start, the boats disappeared. And to be honest, we're finding it quite tricky to find them at the moment. There's a lot of cloud around, there's low mist, and we can't see particularly far, so finding where the individual boats are is a bit of a challenge. But we do see off the live leaderboard that there's some fish caught. What we need to know is whether or not anybody of any importance has caught any. I see that Nicolas Boldo and Ludovic Pinchede from Belgium have caught a big pike. Now that's a 106 pike, that's the biggest pike I think that's been caught so far. Interestingly, Luke Coppens and Jeremy Staveman, they are second on the leaderboard at the moment. They've had 2 perch, and you would think in these conditions perch would be pretty tricky to find. They couldn't get them on that first day, and they blanked yesterday as well, which means that to all intents and purposes they're out of the game really. But second today. The big question is, are any of those top 4 on the leaderboard? The answer is yes. In 8th place, with just 1 perch, Dustin Schoner and Johannes Dietl, the German team in boat 6, they have caught a fish. The other 3, they've caught nothing at all. So what that means is that they will rocket to the top of the leaderboard today. There's still plenty of time to go, and the forecast is for it to drop down and get a little bit better later on. But one of the things that we saw yesterday, certainly with regards to Jonan and Schaefer, is that they preferred that very tight, very accurate pelagic style of fishing, and trying to do that in big choppy waves, that is immensely difficult. It worked for them yesterday. Question on my lips, will it work for them today? Back with Schaefer and Jonan now, down by the bridge that separates the Harring Fleet from Hollands Deep, and it's pretty bumpy down here. See Pierre at the back of the boat doing what he does best, pelagic fishing. Looks like Daniela is vertical jigging at the front. Doesn't have to put a lot of movement into that. The boat's bouncing up and down a fair amount, and we don't actually know whether or not they've caught anything at the moment. They've not reported any fish as yet. It may be a tactic they use to confuse everyone. It may be they've not caught anything. But either way, they're still in the race, and we'll find out later on if they have actually put any fish onto that score sheet. Boat 37 now, and this is Daniel Ressel and Gregor Babiots, and they have had a brilliant day 1 and day 2. They go into day 3 in the lead, a first and a third, and these guys just on 4 points have a massive advantage. But of course, to keep that advantage, they've got to catch fish today. Now, we had a chance of catching up with them to find out what their thought process was about tactics today, and they're not going to go crazy. They said they were going to try and fish for zander, and they thought that if they could get 3 zander on the board and then possibly try a pike later on, that would be enough to get them into the top 10. And here they are, the race leaders, boat number 6. It's very interesting seeing what they're doing here. More or less exactly the same. They're drifting about 500 metres down this shelf, and they're coming back to just in front of us. but they've come to a slightly different place. They're working a bit further out now, a little bit further out along that shelf, maybe just into the deeper water rather than down the top of the shelf. And we can see the drogue's just been dropped in. That will open itself up underwater and slow the movement of the boat down. Let's see if they've changed rigs. Soft bait now, dark soft bait. And this seems to be the plan. That's a 12 centimetre shad and a slightly lighter one on the other side. That is a very interesting tactic. They run adrift on a hard bait and a spinner bait. They come back up in again, and this time they're running it on a light and a dark soft bait. So guys, wow, very, very close on the results at the moment. What we think is the provisional result, and we think you have won by 1 point. So it's not confirmed yet. We think the French guys over there, they lost 2 fish. So unfortunately, they are finishing behind you in the leaderboard, and we think that you have won. But it's provisional for the moment, okay? So it has to be confirmed for later. So,
crazy. The 2017 World Predator Classic champions, Dustin Schoen and Eagles.
A surprise for us. When we came in the harbor, we thought, okay, we fished good, but we didn't think that we will make it. So we are really surprised and really happy, I think.
So we didn't catch that many fish today and that many fish the first day, but finally it was enough. Yeah.